everyone, Carla here, one half of Convos with the Euros. So today's video is going to be a very special one because I want to talk all about...
I'm so sorry.
Anyways, so today's video is going to be all about how to deal with chronic illness if you're dealing with anything, diabetes, renal stuff, and especially if you're young, because that's really our story. My husband Daniel is dealing with renal failure. He's been dealing with it for about 1.5 years. He is on dialysis, and the only way out of dialysis is a kidney transplant. So I have linked down below some videos about our kidney transplant journey because me and Daniel are in it together. And if you're curious about our story and how Daniel ended up needing dialysis and dealing with multiple other chronic illnesses, then that is linked down below. And we talk a lot about in our podcast that is linked down below in our first episode about everything that happened, but essentially COVID-19 shut down his kidneys and now he's living on dialysis. But anyways, this video I'm going to share practical tips with you, as well as some encouragement, some words of encouragement from Daniel himself about dealing with a disease that is very difficult to handle. So let's get into it. To show you what it's like to plan our lives and try to organize things for someone who is chronically ill. All right, so the first thing is that I'm actually sitting in front of my laptop, and I am going to be printing out, and I'll show you guys on the screen, a chart. And the reason I am printing out a chart is that Daniel's medications and the way he's not able to eat as much as before or drink as much as before because of a surgery that he had done. And it just has him feeling really icky and nauseous a lot of the time. So I am trying to figure out right now how I can create a schedule so that he has an eating schedule, a drinking schedule, because he keeps getting dehydrated because he's not drinking enough water. And the dialysis, since he dialyzes every night, it pulls fluid out of his body. That's kind of how dialysis works. So I need to create some kind of chart so that we are able to, not necessarily the medications are hard for him to take the medications that he's supposed to, but it's just there's so much going on that unless we get organized, I just feel like he's going to keep forgetting to take medications or not drinking enough water and things like that. And so this is the only way that I can think of to get everything so organized that he keeps up with it. So let me show you guys the chart that I am creating. All right, y'all, this is a table that I came up with. It'll have date. Let me make this a little brighter. It's gonna have date, weight in the morning, weight at night, and the treatment received. So like, you know, how much fluid got removed off of him and stuff like that. So when it comes to dialysis, you're going to get weighed in the morning and at night. And that just helps determine how much weight you have built up throughout the day. When you weigh something in the morning and weigh something different at night, you'll know that, hey, I got some extra fluid in. All right. I've talked to you guys about this planner before, and I'll talk about it in just a little bit. And I'll also talk about how we organize our appointments and things like that. But that's where I'm going to keep the chart for now. So that way, you know, in the mornings, we can just take it out and write on it. But I have to buy a clipboard. So I'll probably order a I'll probably order a cheap clipboard off of Amazon so that he can keep it on top of his dialysis machine or on the table. And if you guys are interested in our dialysis setup and what it looks like, again, I will link some videos down below. But this video, I'm just going to stick to different tips and tricks on how we're able to organize all the medical stuff that we have going on. By the way, another hack that is super important, that is something that I have started doing just because in this summer we've been to the hospital 3 times already, just with all the stuff that Daniel has going on. So, which, you know, after he came home last year from being in the hospital for 3 months after catching COVID and losing renal function and stuff like that, we haven't even been back to the hospital until the summer. So it's been a crazy summer. So that's why we're trying to get really organized and his medications down pat. So this is something that I do. I actually take a picture of the bottles of, you can't see it very well, but I take a picture of the medicine bottles, and I just kind of have them all in my phone. And that way I have the pharmacy, you know, because the label on the medication has, you know, Daniel's name, it has the dosage and all that stuff, and it also has the pharmacy. So, you know, all of that information is there, and I can just sometimes just hand the phone over to whatever nurse is coming to grab the med list, and I'll just be like, here you go. Or you can just read it off to the nurse, because whenever you go to the hospital or start off with a new doctor or new specialist, you have to give them your whole medication list, your whole history and stuff like that. So this is a great way for me to have all that information on hand. Or you can write everything down on a small card, which I actually did for Daniel, and put it inside his wallet. So if you leave your phone, you just have a backup. When it comes to medical appointments and all these things that are super pivotal, I need to show you this calendar right here. Y'all, this calendar, we call it the brain of our household, and I don't want to show you addresses and stuff like that. Down here, let me back up because I don't want you guys to be able to read any of that. But these are like when you go to doctor's appointments and stuff like that, you know how you get a sheet of paper where they're going to tell you when your next appointment is going to be and stuff like that. That's what those are. Also business cards of like the dietitian or different specialties that Daniel will see. So that's what those papers are. Because sometimes I can't put them in the calendar yet because the day hasn't arrived. Maybe it's a few months out. I will keep the paper there, especially because not only does it have the date of next appointments, but it'll tell us sometimes, hey, these labs that were ordered, those are fasting labs, or you need to show up at a specific location. So when they have a bunch of instructions like that, those that paperwork from the doctor's office will absolutely get put here. It's not the most pretty looking thing, but it works, and it kind of is our brain, so we need it. Yeah, so keeping a good consistent schedule is a huge part of us staying really organized and not like hugely overwhelmed with all the medical stuff that's going on. All right, so I am not sure if I've shown this before in the channel, but we actually have a whole cupboard that is like our mini pharmacy, and I'm gonna show it to you guys right now. It is an absolute mess, but we just have so much extra medication on hand right now. Somehow over the months, we just got an extra medication. So I'm gonna show you guys how we organize that and the pill organizer and everything that we use. It is not pretty in here, but you know, this is kind of the over-the-counter section. And there's some like random candy. This is like over-the-counter section. So we've got Tylenol right here. We've got some Dayquil knockoffs, of course. Who's out here trying to buy real stuff? Just all kinds of medications, a COVID test, ibuprofen. We have it all. I mean, literally anything you can think of, we have it all. Whether you're having a cold, whether you're having pain, whatever, it's here. But this section right here is all of the prescription medication. So I keep everything in a basket right here handy for Daniel. There's all the pill bottles. And then right here is his pill organizer. And I'm going to show you guys that right now. We have overflow. Get back in there. I can't remember if I have shown this before, but this is a really handy pill organizer that I bought Daniel. It's called the Bug Hole, and I will link it down below because I really like this. It was like $15 for this thing. It is from Amazon, and there are some weekdays missing here because they're sitting in Daniel's nightstand, but I thought I showed you guys anyways. It's just a big, I like the slender design of this. This is a bigger pill organizer, but it works for us because some of Daniel's pills are bigger. He used to use a smaller one that they gave us in the hospital, but this works so much better because it's bigger. And then all the days come out individually, and I really like the design of it. I think it's kind of cute. And really like this pill organizer right here because it has 4 compartments. So if he takes medications 4 times a day, which some of them he really does need to, you know, divide them into 4 sections. We got, you know, from morning all the way to bedtime, and then we got the days of the week. So really when we go out for the day, he just brings one of these with him. But yeah, pill organizers, this is the best way to stay organized and make sure you're taking your medicines on time. And the really cool thing is, like, you know, if your morning, you know, compartment is empty, that means you took them, you know. So, you know, if Daniel forgets or I forget, because we try, you know, I try to remind him if he forgets to take his medication, or, you know, if he forgets, you can just look at the pill organizer and know that you took the right thing. So it's just 1 for each day of the week, and then 4 times a day that he will take medication. Really recommend this. It's nice and sleek, so it fits into a backpack or whatever really nicely. All right, y'all, another really important thing about staying organized when you have a chronic illness, and something that we do very, very consistently, is that whenever Daniel goes to the hospital, whenever he has labs drawn, we ask for a printout. Now, the dialysis center prints it out automatically. It's not something that we have to ask for, but we keep track of all of his labs. So I actually have like a stack of papers. They're not super organized in my office, but I also do have a binder for all of Daniel's medical things. But at this point, we mostly just take pictures of things or keep it in like a file organizer. But every time, especially if you're new to a certain disease state, if you're new to dialysis, even if you're like a young person and just got diagnosed with diabetes, which can totally happen, you can have type 1 diabetes. It's really important when you're first learning to save everything they give you, which I definitely did at the beginning and kept everything in binders. Even if a social worker or a case manager gave me a CD copy of like MRI results, anything like that, keep all of that. You never know when a specialist is going to ask to see your lab results or whatever. Or they're like, oh, well, I'm gonna order an x-ray. Well, you can be like, actually, we just had an x-ray done here, so that doctor knows that they can just contact that place in medical records, and that way you don't have to go through the process of going to another appointment and getting another x-ray or another test, because you're keeping track of what you have had done, which is another thing that's super important. If you've had lab work done, tests done, ask what it is that you're having done, so that if someone is like, oh, you need an x-ray, be like, actually, I just had one done, and it was of my lungs, or it was of my pelvis, or whatever. Like, know exactly what you're getting done and keep track of it. Keep track of it in a journal. Just ask for the records and keep it together in a binder. And then that binder, that folder, those pictures on your phone, use something that you have with you whenever you go to whatever appointment you're going to. Like, you need to kind of take ownership of what it is that you're going through. Even if you're going through and you're like, I don't want to be here, I don't want to be having dialysis. Daniel definitely has those days. I have those days where I'm tired of dealing with everything, but you still need to take ownership of it, because no one else will. And this is your health and this is your future. And so take, inventory of what you have, keep track of the appointments and what's being done to you, so that you're able to communicate effectively. Because one thing that you're going to notice if you're going through like chronic illness, which is a big issue that we face, is that specialists don't sometimes talk to each other, and we are the middlemen between all the specialties and between all the different people, and it can be very overwhelming. We are talking to the cardiologist, the nephrologist, the pulmonologist, a primary care doctor. We're talking to so many people, an ER physician, surgeons. That's our daily life. That's literally on a weekly basis, we're talking to all these people. And so it's really important that we know exactly what's being done. And there are times when, I have the amazing blessing that I am a registered nurse, but not everyone has a wife that's a registered nurse or a husband. And Daniel is blessed in that sense, and I'm blessed that I have this knowledge. I've never been so grateful for this career like I have in this season. And the reality is that not everyone has that. So do not be afraid to ask questions. Ask people to spell things out for you if they have to. Daniel is not a medical professional, and so this has been a huge learning life season, a season full of new things. And so don't be afraid to say, I need you to clarify that for me, or what the heck does that mean? So yeah, don't be afraid to fight for your own health. Hey babe.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you a couple of questions, because we're making this video and we're talking about chronic illness and how can you organize your life so that you can have as much normalcy as possible. So I'm gonna pull up this table and set the camera down. And I want you, ooh, what did I just?
You're making a mess here, girl. You okay?
I am making a
Here,
mess.
let me pick this up.
There you go. I want you to tell the folks at home, what are some, because you're the one going through this more than anyone, like what are some things that you have found that help you to like stay independent, still be able to go out and do things?
Marry a medical professional. Not everybody can do that.
Besides an arranged marriage.
What was the question again?
Hold on, get the lighting right.
Yeah.
So the question is, what can people do? Like if you don't have, if you're new to like a certain disease or whatever, like what can you do to keep independent? Like how can you stay organized? Like I've been talking about medications. I've been talking about, talk to your doctors, things like that, have charts, medicine, medical, whatever you want to talk about, pill organizer.
I know that you are coming in from a practical standpoint, which if I'm gonna be super honest, it's very important. Coming from a practical standpoint, like Carla's talking about, practicality in the sense meaning that, pill organizers, doctor's appointments, folders, binders, get your life organized. That's all important, and I believe it should take precedence, like it should be first. But biggest thing you need to do when you're dealing with chronic illness like this, find the things that make you happy. Once you can find the things that make you happy, the rest, it almost makes it seem like, okay, well, yeah, it's burdensome, but I'll be able to do the things that make me happy soon. For some people, it might be a quality time with a spouse, with a child, with going to the park with a dog, hanging out with friends. Make the effort to make those plans and follow through. There's gonna be times where, Carla and I, we have made plans. We wanted to fall out last second and not go. And yes, we go tired. We come out tired, but excited, or not excited, but happy that we got the experience with family and friends. When you shut yourself out from the world, you are making yourself vulnerable. And this is not even coming from a spiritual standpoint, which is a whole nother conversation. This is coming from, person to person. You shouldn't fight alone. Find people to be with you.
Daniel, do you feel like you are disabled?
Yes.
Why?
For those of you that, there's a lot of people that know me, that watch the channel and watch the videos, and maybe there's some new people on here. I'm a big guy. I'm 6'2". I was a big guy. I've always been big, and I've always been able to pride myself on the fact that I felt strong, and I really was strong. At work, the way lifting things was cake work to me. Things like that everybody thought were heavy, obviously I'm not Mr. Olympian, but I always felt really strong, and I was always happy about that. But not just the strength in my arms and my legs. I have pretty good stamina. I played basketball a lot. I'm not even like joking. A lot. I played basketball a lot, even at my size, and I was decent. Getting up and down the court. So I don't feel like I really got depressed then, but during this situation, yes, I would say yes, 100%. Because in this situation that I'm in, I've had multiple times where I feel like I'm never gonna get out of this. I'm never gonna get a kid.
How can just, a little hobby, how can that make you feel better? For people that are going through it.
I know it sounds wrong, but it gets your mind off of it for the time being. And once your mind is off of it, you realize there is more to life. Because when you're in when you're sitting in the wallowing in the pain, and you're sitting in there, and that's all you see. It's darkness all around. But when you're able to come out of that and see some sunshine, see some hope, see some happiness, you'll realize, you know what, maybe there is a little more. Maybe there is more that I can pull from. Maybe there is stuff that can make me happy. I want to give you the best life I can. Obviously this is a Christian channel. We're a Christian couple. I love the Lord. I serve him diligently. Even through this process, I still believe in a good Savior, a good God. And I believe that he will use this story for his glory, and I'm here for it. But what has kept me trying to do better has been making sure my wife has a fairy tale life that we were supposed to have. Because when it comes to my relationship with God, he's holding me up. It's not the other way around. But when it comes to a spouse, I need to be there for her. So I have to, there's days where I have to find the energy where there is none.
All right, guys, so there you have it. I wanted to give you some practical things as well as some words of encouragement, because this guy right here is the one that finds it in himself every single day to not just get through what he's going through, but to find a way to thrive in the midst of renal failure, as well as other conditions that we don't mention all the time. He's had vision loss, he's had paralysis in parts of his body, just a lot of things going on. But the thing is, something that I love that Daniel does is, well, let's find something that is positive. So I want to
Yeah.
share some kind of practical tidbits on how to deal with chronic illness, like organization, so that you can have as normal life as possible, be able to go out, have fun, spend time with the ones you love, don't stay home.
No.
Letting depression sink in,
Don't
like
let
don't
it eat
sink
you
into
up.
it.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, and then I wanted Dana to give you some words of encouragement. But as always, our story is linked down below. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe so that we can grow the channel and tell the story. And we'll see you guys in the next one. And we post multiple videos weekly, so
every week.
every single week.
Bye, guys.